My name's Daniel Keenan. I'm working in Cuthbertson Primary School as one of the digital leaders of learning. In one of the previous webinars, I was talking about having children explain their thinking, and I was also discussing how that can be really beneficial in the classroom, having children create their own recorded videos of their own understanding of what they're doing. At that time, I showed a brief explanation of the Explain Everything app, and the advice I was giving at that time really was that it's a bit more complicated than a simple screen recording or using the Notes app and recording. So today we've got a bit more time to actually look at the Explain Everything app, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get into the app, how to start using it, and give you all the information you need so that you know all the features, how it works. I'll try and take it at a nice slow pace so that you can actually follow what I'm doing. I know sometimes we can go a little bit quickly, and that's why it's really valuable to get these recorded. That means if anything you didn't understand or anything that went a bit quickly, you can always go back on the YouTube site and sort of pause it and play it and have a play around yourself with the app. So I'm going to go onto my home screen now, and I'm just going to show you how to get into the Explain Everything app. So if you were on the sort of self-service area to download the app, if you've not got it, you'll find it in here. You can see here, Explain Everything Whiteboard. I've already got it installed, but that's how you would find it if you can't see it on your Glasgow City Council iPad. So back onto my home screen, and you can see it next to iMovie. It's the purple app with the E shape that looks a bit like a squiggle. You just tap onto that, and when you do, you'll be presented with a screen that looks much like this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to start a new project. That's fairly a straightforward thing to do. You can see the big plus sign there saying new project. So I'm just going to tap into that. And it asks you what you'd like to start with. So already it's giving you an option. To start off today, I'm going to choose a blank canvas. And later on, I'll show you the different options for the templates. Some of them look very useful to me. And you can also have a look at the files option and how you can start with a file. So I'm going to choose onto blank canvas. And here you can see it really does open up just basically a blank whiteboard ready for pupils or teachers to start to draw, share their ideas, and share their thinking. So what I would like to do is I would like to just go down the menu that you can see on the left-hand side and explain what all of these different features are and how to use them. Once I've done that, I'll show you how to record what you're doing. I'll show you how to add in some extra pages if you want to do more than one whiteboard screen. And I'll also show you how to share it so that you can share your videos with other people, because the whole point of doing this is that you're making something that you're then going to share that's going to add value to someone else, or maybe it's a pupil sharing with a teacher what they've done or what they've learned, or maybe it's a teacher sharing with a pupil, here's how to think about something, here's how I did it. It's quite good as a teacher as well. You can record yourself explaining something once and play it to the whole class, rather than having to explain it several times. And if someone's off that day, or if they missed that lesson, or if it's something they're really struggling with, you can also direct them back to that video of something you've created. I have to be honest, I've used it more in previous years with children actually creating the videos and sharing them with each other. So if you have a look at the top left, you'll see the little projects with an arrow. So that just takes you back to this home screen, okay? So that's all that does. It just takes you back to the home screen so you can choose which project you want to go into. Moving down, you can see here, this is the option for Insert New. So if you want to put something on your page, this is where you would find the option to do that. So, for example, you can see at the bottom, it's coming up with recent files. So that'll be things that I've created, that I've used recently. You can also browse your own, your own device to look at any existing videos or any existing images that you want to put onto your screen. So if I click onto here, you can see it's bringing up my camera roll, and I can choose any of the photos or anything that I want to choose. So you can choose any of those. I just choose onto this. It's my school badge, which I found in mine, and I'm just going to say done. And you can see it's appeared there, and I can actually tap that, move it around the page. Okay, and I'm just tapping and moving that around the page just to set up my page. Back into here, you can add videos, files. I did try and add clip art, and I've also tried to add this image from Unsplash, and I seem to have some sort of server problem, so I don't know if maybe the Glasgow City Council Wi-Fi is preventing us from going into that. You can insert existing audio from your device as well, so loads of different options for you there. So I'm just going to I'll keep the little badge on for the moment. The next one you can see is the sort of finger, and that's really just about the different touch options that you've got. So I always leave these as they were and leave them as I found them. I've never changed them around, and I've never had a problem. So I'm just going to leave those alone and let them keep doing what they do. I'm quite happy with the setup. But you could have a mess around with that and see how it sort of affects what you're doing. But for me, I'm quite happy to just continue to use those options as they are. So going into here now, we've got the sort of drawing or pen tool that you would use to actually write down or share your thoughts and ideas. And as you can see, the first one just looks like a dot, but when you press onto the dot, it's going to give you options for different thicknesses. So if I click on the first one and draw a line, you can see that's a very thin line. I'll go up a few and you can see it's drawing a thick line. I'm going up again, another size, and the line's getting thicker, and that's the largest one option. So really good for being able to actually customize that and get, exactly what size you want. The next one down actually helps you decide what style of drawing tool you'd like to use. So at the moment, I've got pen chosen. I'm going to choose pencil now. And what I really like is it actually gives you the option for what. So you can actually see very detailed options on what you can actually use here. So I'm going to choose the HB option. And I'm going to change my colour to the black colour there. And it's drawing like a pencil, and you can see there it's more of a faint line. If you keep scrubbing over the same part, just like a pencil, it does actually shade in. So I was thinking about links to maybe expressive arts, art and design aspects with this, for the actual use of shading. You could actually link that in and use this program to do it. You can see the more I'm rubbing in that area, that is getting darker and darker, just as it would if you were using a pencil on paper. So really it's something that I think the children would quite like to play around with. Moving into these options as well, another great option that you've got here is the ruler option. So I'm going to go back over to pen. I'm going to keep my ruler. So as you press the ruler, you can see it appears and disappears, appears. And I've got the ruler on the page now. I use 2 fingers and I can actually tilt that ruler, and you can see it's actually telling me the number of degrees I've got that ruler at. So thinking about links to mathematical skills there. And what that actually allows you to do, if I'm drawing down and my pen hits that ruler, you can see it creates a perfect straight line, almost like using a ruler on your page. And if I just do the exact same thing again and draw along the ruler, you can see I'm able to actually draw perfect straight edges using the ruler tool, and you can choose different colours and have them going in different colours. So a lot of great options here, and a lot of different ways for the children or young people we're working with to customise and really get into the nitty-gritty of what they're actually doing and what they want to achieve. Okay, moving down, you have got these colours. Now, the colours that they've given you are their preset colours, and for quite a long time, I was actually thinking that these were the only colour options that you had, and I thought that was a limitation of this. I didn't know that you could actually change the colours, but I found out that if you hold in the colour option, you can actually add custom colour palette here. So if you look here, what I'm doing, I'm pressing that plus, and I've got the whole colour wheel to choose from. So I might want this lovely blue colour, kind of turquoise, and I'll say done. And you can see I've now changed my top pen to be that turquoise colour. And if I use that on the screen, you can see I'm able to draw using that turquoise colour. So loads of options for the children to get involved with, loads of things for them to really spend a lot of time and create a high quality piece of work rather than something very fast and very quick that you might expect from using the Notes app, for example. So I'm going to move on down now, and I'm going on to the highlighter option. Again, the highlighter option works quite similarly. You can choose the different thickness by having a look at the top, and you can change the colours. And it's just the same working as the pen. It just like a highlighter does. It's just less opaque, so you can highlight something without scrubbing over it completely. You might want to use that, for example, you might import a specific text on here and use the highlighter tool to highlight specific adjectives or different parts of the text that you thought were very descriptive. There's loads of different things you can do with that. That's really open to your interpretation. I'm going to go back onto my pen, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to take the ruler off so that it's not in my way. Just remember that ruler can snap on and snap off, and you can go back and bring it on whenever you need it. I'm just taking it off just now because it was in the way of my page. And I'm going to move on now just to the rubber section. So you can see here the rubber has, again, different options for different thicknesses. So I'm going to just choose the rubber, and if you can see here, it's basically just rubbing out what we've done. So I will just show you that. So that's very easy to use. Okay, the next option we've got here is for a fill colour. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the pen tool, and I'm going to draw some circles. You can see I'm drawing them near the bottom of the screen. And what the fill colour should do is when you press onto an area that's completely surrounded by a border, it fills in that whole area. Okay, so I've accidentally coloured in my black lines there, so I've just pressed the undo button, and you can see I can choose a different colour for each section. If I want to make that one a completely different colour, I can go in and change that to yellow, and oops, there we go. So loads of different options that you can use with the fill colour. You can use it to fill in whole spaces and draw different shapes if you want to draw those shapes. So moving down on the left hand side, we're actually into the shapes section. So if you click onto here at the top of the menu, you'll see there's loads of different options for different shapes that you might want to choose from. So you can choose that shape, and then you can draw that shape on to the page. I'm going to click back onto the shapes, and you can see at the side I've got a preview there of what the shape's going to actually look like with its fill colour and its border. So I might change the fill to blue and change the border. You can see at the top I'm changing between the fill and the border, and I might make the border black. All right, and now if I draw a shape, it should represent those changes that I've made. You can go in here and you can choose the rounded off square or rectangle. You've got options for circles and arrows, which can be useful for highlighting key information. Okay, another option is you can change the border width of the shape that you're going to create. So if you wanted a shape that's less, it doesn't stand out as much, you can make a lower border width. I'm just showing you how to do that. And now you can see my arrow here stands out less on the page with the border thickness is much less on this one. So another feature that I found out, and I actually found out this quite recently when I was preparing for this webinar, is that there is an option for you to draw shapes. Now, basically you try to draw the shape that you want to make, and the app will try and interpret that into a shape. So, for example, if I want to draw a rectangle shape, it's matched the shape and it's found that shape. If I want to draw a circle of some kind, hold on, and I'll just go back into the option. If I'm drawing a circle, it's sort of detected that and drawn me a sort of circle oval shape there. I'll try another one. Let's see if it will recognise a triangle. And it's got a triangle for me. So that's quite a useful one if you want to just quickly make shapes of your own. I did try to get a bit more complex and a bit more creative myself, and I tried to draw a little star. Okay, and as you can see, it said at the top, couldn't match shape. So really, I think it's just basic shapes. But what it does do is it leaves behind the little trace of whatever it is that you've created, and you can still move that around the page, as I am doing right now. So if I just go into the I'm just going to delete that one just now. So after shapes, we've got text. Now, for text, again, you just tap onto the page and you're presented with a text box. And in the text box, you can type anything you want. So I can type in, hello, welcome to my webinar. And again, you've got these options, whether or not you want to have a border. And if you click onto this, at the top left of the keyboard, you can see you've got an option for how it's going to look. You can change the colour. You can make it transparent by choosing the transparent option. You can change the colour. So I might want a transparent one, like that, so that you can actually see through it onto what's behind. And much the same as a text box that you would use on any other anything else that you've got. You can change the size by clicking into here. Okay, you can change the justification to make it left, centre, right, or fully justified. Something I really quite liked is you can add in the sort of square numbers if you want, which is always tricky to try and find when I'm using other applications. I'm trying to find that little squared character. I find that quite difficult. You can also have strike through text. So if you make a mistake or you want to highlight a word, you can have the text come up with strike through. You can see that here. So loads of different options for text. And your usual bold, italics, underline. You can see I'm typing my name in bold, in italics, with an underline, and also with the strike through. So loads of different options, loads of things for you to really look into on that one. So I've got the next option here. Now this one allows you to basically duplicate whatever you select. So I'm selecting this on my screen, and it should make a duplicate of that. So you can see that was the part I selected. I think my iPad's running a little bit slow, but I hope you can see that this is the part I selected, and it's now made a complete duplicate of it. So I'm going to go into my options and delete that one. Okay. So that was me duplicating just by selecting a rectangle or a square. The next option is the sort of looks like a bit of a lasso tool, and that is the exact same thing. You can duplicate, but you can duplicate a very specific area that you want to duplicate, and it should make that sort of strange shape that I drew around it. You can see it's duplicated that. So these are all the different tools that you can actually use, and I'm going to just try and delete that one. Okay, that's great. So the next one is an option for actually just deleting objects. So if you click on something, you'll see the X and you can just cross it off and delete it. I'll bring back my school badge, but at this point, I might take the time to just tidy up the page a little bit. Got quite a lot of mess on there, and I can demonstrate to you that you can select drawings that you've done, and you can select multiple things and then press the X and it will delete them for you. So it's quite a good way to delete a lot of things at once. You're just tapping, 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 and press that delete. I'll delete that as well. So we're back to just my school badge on here now. So the next thing that we'll look at is a laser pointer tool, and you can choose what you want it to actually look like. I'll just keep it as a sort of standard laser pointer. And really what that does is it allows you to point. If you imagine during a presentation, you might want to highlight, I might want to say to someone, okay, so this is my school. Here you can see the school name. And if you look here, you'll see the thistle from our school. And all the way around the side, you'll see the shape of our school badge. And it's just a way of actually directing someone's attention if you're doing any presenting. Moving down onto the next section is the inspector. Now, you might have seen me using that. That's a way that I often use just to delete specific objects. So if I click on that, you can see there's loads of options of things that you can do. You can go into really the kind of options of, flip it left and right, flip it up and down. You can do loads in here. I won't cover all of that today, but I've been using that just as a way to tap onto something, press the inspector, and that's a very quick way, an easy way just to delete things from the menu. Underneath there, we've got the undo button, so you can see undo, and when you do the undo option, you are then given next to it the redo option, so you can flip back and forward from things that you've done, which is, to be honest, the undo button is my favourite button. If you make a mistake, you always need to know. So loads of different options for us, and I hope it's been useful for me to go through all of the different options that you can see. When I first started using this app, I thought it was a bit overwhelming and there was a lot to it. And I've very recently discovered that I might not be the only one who felt that way, because if you look underneath the undo button, you will also see an option to change your mode, which is actually very useful. What I'm thinking is, if you're introducing children to this, maybe in the early stages of primary school, you may want to change it to the simple mode. And if I press the simple mode, you can see straight away it pairs back all the options and takes you to a much more simplistic and easy to understand way of using it. It's got rid of a lot of those complicated options that I have to be honest, I don't see that I would use as often. And what it leaves you with is what you would really need to draw and make something of your own. So something I think really excellent to use would be this simple option, especially if you're introducing it to children in the earlier stages of using the app. Even if you're introducing children who are later on in their school career, you might want to start off with the simple version and then move on to the standard version as they become more advanced and able to use it. Another mode we've got here is the presenter mode, which again takes away all of those options and allows you what you would need just to show people what you're doing. So you've still got your laser pointer that you might need, you've still got a rubber option in there and a quick pen option, but it's not as many options as you would need for actually creating your document. So really good options in here for taking it to a simple mode for easy to use, and also presenting what you have already created, and then the standard mode for all of the options that you want to be able to use. So excellent things that you can actually do here, and also the magnifying glass at the bottom allows you to sort of zoom in and move around the page. But so that's some of the options that you've got. So now I'm starting to think, okay, that's great. You've shown us all how to create these files and how to create these whiteboards, but what could we actually use it for? So some examples I can think of are even in maths or any area of the curriculum really. If there's a particular job or a particular task that children have to do that they might usually do in a jotter or might usually do in a whiteboard, they can complete these tasks using this. And you see at the bottom, the most obvious sort of feature here is the record feature. Now I'm a bit scared to actually press it because as I'm sharing the screen, I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a go and I'm going to press record. And as I'm sharing my screen, it won't actually allow me to record on this one, but you can press the record button and then you can use this to, do any sort of maths things that you might want to do, or any explanations of different processes that you want to do. Even from the early stages, I've used this before in a primary 2 class, and the children were actually just doing their addition sums. They were writing out the sums. They were drawing little circles to represent what they've got, like this. Then they were, saying their answer, and they were drawing a circle around it. Loads of different things you can do, and it also links really well, with Glasgow Counts, thinking about visual representations of things. Really good. The other good thing is, because it's all recorded, as I said in a previous webinar, because it's recorded, you can actually see if there's a mistake, where did the mistake happen, and you can correct that. Whereas sometimes if a child shows you a whiteboard, you only see the finished product. You don't actually see the process that went in to create that. By recording this, you're able to see the process and you can actually pinpoint, right, now I'll know where you went wrong. And that works all the way up into doing, high-level equations, all the way down to primary 1, primary 2, adding simple numbers. That really I do really strongly believe. Once you've created something, you can easily share it. So if you look at the top right-hand side, you'll see there's an option for sharing. Now, I have to be honest, the only option I've ever used is export. So I'm just going to tap onto that. And you can see you've got loads of options here. You can export it as a video, an image, a document, or a project. Most of the time I would be exporting it as a video. You may just want to export it as a document or perhaps an image to share it on some of our online learning environments such as Showbie, Google Classroom, Teams, Seesaw, whatever you're using, you can save it as a video. So if I was to save this one as a video, you can see you come up with the options. Now you can save it directly to these places, but I always think it's better to actually save the video, save the project there. It says it was successful. Now I'm going back to my home screen now, and if I just go into the photos section, you can see here it's got my video on there. And there's videos here of ones that I was just having a mess around with recently. You can see the different things. Once you've got it in your photos area of your device, you can share it to any platform and you've got it to keep. So I always think that's the best way to go. Just going back into the explain everything app. Now, at the start, and I know I'm running short on time, I'm just going to save and close that. I did say when you click onto new project, you're given the option for a template. Now, the templates are really good as well. If you have a look, you can start with a blackboard, a whiteboard, colourful one. You've actually got this sort of traditional chalkboard one, which would be quite interesting. They've also got one set up for a meeting, different storyboards. I mean, there's really good possibilities in there for looking at film education, storyboarding, looking at creating storyboards before you write. I mean, there's class projects here that you could use this to really support. And it's just so that there are sort of tools within your Apple device and your iPad that can help you to get into these things. Being honest, I've not used any of these projects because I only recently discovered them, but it's certainly something I'll be interested in exploring with my own children when we return in August. So I think I've covered pretty much everything that I hoped to cover. The last thing I'd like to do is just cover that if, like me, you make a big mess on your first page, if you look at the bottom right, you can see there's an add button and that'll just add in another page. And then if you look at the bottom right, you'll see I'm now on page 2 of 2. I can click on here and go between pages. Okay, so if, for example, your pupils have created, with their fingers, a large thing, a large sum or a large equation or a large explanation, they can keep it all on the same file and just add in new pages. And if you hold in, you get the option to delete certain pages or anything you want to do. So just thought I would mention that. If you look at the top right, you see there is an option to invite, but when it asks you to invite, it wants you to sign in, and I haven't signed in with this, so I'm not going to explore that at this moment. My preferred way would be for us to actually share it on the online environments at the moment, although I do imagine being able to collaborate would be excellent as well. So I'm going to stop there. I'm sorry I've taken a little bit longer than the time, but I'm going to try and come back onto Teams and stop sharing my